Alright, we're back to my ranking every Disney animated films. For part 2, I'm going to do the films after Walt Disney passed away. While The Jungle Book came out after his death, it was in production when he was alive, so I had to put it in part 1. In part 2, we'll be looking at 8 movies before the Disney Renaissance. So, let's get started. The Aristocats. I will admit I liked this movie when I was a kid, but after rewatching it since I haven't watched it in years, it was alright, similar to the 101 Dalmatians. Unlike 101 Dalmatians where it had good points, this one had a few, but less. Is it forgettable? I can't say because I remember watching it as a kid, but as an adult, yeah, it kind of is. It does have cutesy stuff with the cats, which I do love cats, and the characters were fine. Plus, I did like the dog chase with Edgar. But yeah, I don't want to be too harsh on it, but yeah, it was the start of the fall of Disney animated films after Walt passed away. But it's not far from terrible. I'm putting it in the okay category, right on the line with the 60s films. Robin Hood. This one is better than the Aristocats. I didn't watch it when I was a kid, but it was a fun movie after watching it for the first time on Disney+. Robin Hood was the first one to use anthropomorphic animals instead of humans. That's a nice change up. Aside from that, there are good action, good characters, and even a fun climax, which it's not as a great climax as Sleeping Beauty, but still a good setup for a climax. So yeah, probably one of the good ones that come out of the downfall, but it is entertaining to watch. I'm placing it in the good category. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. It does count as a movie, despite the 3 shorts collaborated into one movie. And with this one, I actually do like this one. You gotta keep in mind, Winnie the Pooh is one of the iconic Disney characters coming after Mickey Mouse. So with that, it's a great choice to make a movie out of it. I remember watching as a kid, and it was the only Winnie the Pooh VHS DVD I've ever got. As a kid, I remember seeing Winnie the Pooh on VHS previews a lot, and I wanted to buy them on VHS, but I think The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh saved it. Now, as an adult, I actually like a lot more now. The best highlight in the movie is breaking the fourth wall joke, which, if you know me, I love these kind of jokes where the characters talk to the narrator. That's awesome. Another highlight is the atmosphere and laid-back tone, which, yes, Winnie the Pooh is a slice of life, similar to Bambi in a way. Other than that, the animation, the music, and even the characters are great. Plus, I like the ending where Pooh and Christopher Robin talking to each other. It's kind of heavy stuff. Still, if you want to get into Winnie the Pooh, try this movie out. Plus, it's probably the best one after Disney passed away. I'm putting it to the above good category. The Rescuers. This one was about the same as the Aristocats, but there are some story and characters to the movie. I liked it when I was a kid, but as of now, it's alright. There are good stuff in the movie, but other than that, it's kind of that cutesy and average stuff. I'm not a big fan of the girl Penny. Bernard and Bianca were okay. Some of the villain stuff were good, but other than that, The Rescuers was okay. And when the sequel, well, we'll get to that soon. So for now, I'm putting The Rescuers in okay, but above the Aristocats. The Fox and the Hound. Another movie I watched as a kid. I'll say, it is a good movie about a fox and a hound getting along when they were young, and by the time they get older, their friendship will end. So yeah, similar to Bambi, it will still be cute at the beginning, but then you get to the heavy moments. Which, I guess this was my Bambi, I guess. Well, my brother did have it on the VHS, which the VHS came out in '94, so at least he had it. Still, after watching it in years, it's still a good movie that came out during that era. I'm putting Fox and the Hound in the good category. The Black Cauldron. Okay, this movie was the nail in the coffin for Disney, mainly for both critical and financial failures. Not only that, but during when it first came out, it was getting destroyed at the box office by the Care Bears movie. That's right, the Care Bears movie beat the Black Cauldron, and it was one of the lowest points. So, besides the financial failure, what did I think of the movie? Yeah, not good, but it's not the worst. The animation is nice, which that's the only thing I liked. And while it has a fan base because it was one of Disney's darkest, and fair enough, but I just think it didn't grab me. I'm putting it in the mediocre category. I can't go low for bad category. The Gray Mouse Detective. This is a fun little Disney movie. And while another movie I didn't watch as a kid, it was still worthy to watch when I get older. It's a Sherlock Holmes story where the little girl Olivia lost her father, and she comes across a detective Basil and associate Dawson. They have to stop the villain Ratigan, which I have to say is a pretty fun villain, and underrated to be precise. So for this movie, it's still a fun little movie. The best part of the movie is the climax. I'm ashamed that this movie came out after the big failure, but it would have been nice to put it out in the Disney Renaissance era. While it's close putting it with the others, I'm gonna put it below the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, but only by a long shot. Oliver and Company. I remember watching as a kid, but less memorable than the others I mentioned. Which, after watching on Disney Plus in a long time, it's actually forgettable. And yeah, it feels like we're gonna have debate that this movie came out the same day as The Land Before Time. Anyways, let's talk about some things I liked in the movie. Well, only 2 songs are pretty catchy. The opening song, Once Upon a Time in New York City, is pretty catchy. I listened to it on YouTube quite a few times. And Why Should I Worry is pretty catchy too, with Billy Joel singing it. While those 2 are not my favorite scenes in the movie, this scene in the climax is my favorite. It's when the villain chases the owner and the girl with their animals while in the subway. Plus, the scene where the subway crashes the villain, that scene is awesome. Plus, I don't remember nothing about Sykes other than how he died. Talk about G-rated there, Disney. All in all, I can't say it's worse than the Black Cauldron. Nah, it's just forgettable, even when I got older. I'm putting it in the okay category, but kind of below the Rescuers. So yeah, that is part 2 of the ranking Disney films. I'm glad it felt short than the last one, but still only 8 during the time period. But now, I move on to part 3 for the best of Disney films. I'll see you guys next time for another ranking Disney films.